David Maltese. Atheists don't think or say there is no God. That's an anti-theist. Atheists think there is not enough proof for them to believe in a God. So you're actually an atheist, but you don't know what it is, so you claimed not to be one, and to be an anti-theist agnostic. Agnostic just means the research of knowledge. You can be a theist or atheist and be also agnostic. It really doesn't mean much. I don't see how being atheist, meaning not having a religious belief, is a religious belief. Please explain. Or did you not get the fact that being atheist doesn't mean you don't believe in God? It means that you fail to see proof of it. But of course, atheists all have their own beliefs on God, and that's a different thing altogether. This is why I hate labels, because they try to narrow these things down, and you end up arguing over things that really aren't clear. As a critical thinker, it's important to look at all sides of an issue. That's for sure. And that's what I try to do. I look at myself as a moderate. I look at myself as somebody who goes and looks at all sides of something. And the best position, the best label I could come up with for myself in that moderate position was agnostic, meaning I don't know. I don't know about God or gods. I don't think that such things are knowable. I don't think in our present condition and with our ability and perception and understanding that we're in a place where we're going to know one way or the other whether God does or gods do or don't exist. And I think that there is some intellectual dishonesty going on in making a claim one way or the other that God definitely exists or that God definitely doesn't exist. As to atheism, I have a very hard time with atheism the more I find out about it, not because I have a problem with atheists. I have a lot of friends who are atheists, and I love them to death. And every time I've sat and talked to them about it, they get to the point, you get to a point where they go, well, we really don't know. We don't know if there's a God or gods. They don't talk about, though, and this is the thing about atheism, is the discussion is not, I have a lack of belief. The discussion is, those believers over there are idiots. Those believers over there don't know what they're talking about. Or organized religion as a whole has, historically speaking, been a force for more bad than it has for good. Now, I happen to agree with that position. I don't think that makes me an atheist because I don't have a position in regards to whether there is or isn't a God because I don't know. But I do believe that organized religion as a whole has not been more of a force for good than it has been a force for bad. So I tend to have a lot of atheist friends because we have very common ground on that point of view. I have a hard time with atheism because, in preparation for this question, I don't normally go looking things up, but this kind of keeps coming up. And I went to the American Atheist website where they try to define atheism as a lack of belief or a lack of proof in something. And I don't think that that's a very intellectually honest position. The reason why is because there is a scale of belief, from full belief to no belief. You either have, and you have a position in there somewhere. You either, there's gods, there are no gods. Right? You can't know. There's a very big difference between believing something and knowing something, between belief and fact. And none of us are in a position to know with certainty anything about God or gods. We just aren't. So if you can prove to me with some conclusive evidence, not just me, if you can present a proof that there is or isn't a God, great. Then we can get into a position where we can establish facts about it. But we're not in that place right now, as far as I know, and I don't know that we're going to be anytime in the immediate future. So we take a position of belief. We believe there isn't, we believe there is. Or we're somewhere in the middle, where we're not really sure. We act on those beliefs. We act on those. We make decisions based on that. We make value judgments based on that. And those value judgments carry us on through life. And so we all have our own philosophy and our own viewpoints about these things. I have a problem with taking some labels and putting it on that, because these are shades of gray. These are things that are mutable. They move, they change, they shift. And you try to corner somebody down and say, you're an atheist. No, you're an atheist agnostic. No, you're a theist agnostic. I mean, I just it just drives me nuts. So that's why I don't like the labels. It's not my intention in talking about this to try to offend anybody or their sensibilities about what they are or aren't, or what they feel they are or aren't. If you want to have a label on yourself and call yourself something, I don't really have a problem with it. It tends to come in my direction because I'm being told now, you're this or you're that, and I've tried to make it clear that I'm not any of those things. I just am what I am. And I think that if we could move in a direction of tolerance for belief or lack of belief, or whatever you want to call it, that the world would actually become a much better place. I think that the thing that I'm intolerant of is intolerance. And I happen to be friends with a lot of atheists, and I happen to become involved with, atheism because it's kind of aligned with skepticism and humanism and rational thinking. But that doesn't mean atheists have all the rational thinking going on, because, one of the best, I know I'm gonna get it for this, but one of the better arguments that I saw regarding this was on a Christian apologetic site, which discusses lack of belief as a position, as an intellectual position, as a motivation. And I found the argument to be a good one. And I'll post a link to it down in the notes section below so you guys can check it out. And I'll also post a link to the American Atheist site so you can check what they say about what atheism is. They flat out say that the dictionary definition of atheism is wrong, and that it sort of defies definition, or it's only defined as a lack of belief. Anyway, I think they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too, and I don't fully agree with that position. And that's where I'm at on it.